I was so happy, like even though I wanted everybody to be surprised, I was so happy to see him in the class today for the first show, which made me so happy to see him on that Friday. I was just like, I was just sitting in the back of the
Me and Alex.
keep my eye on it. I want to build it.
And Alex, hey, Alex is gone. Me and Alex are like, maybe watching and it was great. They were both fun.
This is something that I really
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to CSz108. I'm Patrick, along with Jay. We're your hosts for tonight. I'm co-owner and general manager here, so I'm responsible for everything that's wrong. Again, most of you have been here before to showcase. Raise your hand if you have not been to a stand-up showcase here, okay? So I'm going to talk to the 5 of you. These are students. We do not heckle them. We support them. Can we agree on that? And I gotta tell you, they're pretty easy to support. They are very easy to support. So, given that, also, next, by being here, you agree that your image may be used in the streaming of this event, which is being streamed. I don't have the camera on myself right now, but whoops. But Jay is racing over to change the camera set. Yeah, throw it on 3. I'll turn to that camera right now. So it's an awesome evening to be here. But you agree that your image will be used forever and ever and ever, and for our evil purposes and positive purposes, which is what it really is. And if that is not acceptable to you, you can't be here. Sorry. Cool. Concessions are available whenever Jay or I are back at that counter. Jay is racing to the counter right now. And also, if you can, it's not going to be a tremendously long night. There are 6 comics, and plus your host, which I will explain in a moment. And please stay for the whole thing. If you're absolutely have to leave, of course, you are free to do so. But in our world, that's considered not cool. All right. So I'm going to introduce Carl Wolfson, who has taught these people. He's a tremendous teacher of 40 years and 4 or 5 weeks doing stand-up comedy on the road, on TV, everywhere you want to be. He's been a host at Air America and other radio stations here in Portland. Spectacular guy. He's a baseball fan and appreciated my Milwaukee Brewers Robin Yount jersey, and I appreciate him. Please give it up for Carl Wolfson.
Thank you. Let's go for Patrick Stewart and everybody here. And Mark lives here. I mean, he's been in every show and never been in my class. And I'm going to have a class for audience members. You can join that. You've already graduated. You're an amazing guy. Now, are you friends with most of the performers? Are you their agent? Are you an agent provocateur? Who are you?
all of the above.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
All my improv peeps.
Oh, okay, your improv peeps. Okay, so Mark does improv here?
That is correct.
Oh, okay, great. Well, your improv students...
PortlandComedy.com.
At Portland
At PortlandComedy.com, yes. We'll be saying that a lot tonight. Well, I must say, your improv cohorts are wonderful. They're great students, and you're sitting next to one right there, and several. And Vince, all good. There's a little bit of a difference between stand-up and improv, but the acting skills are fantastic. I want to acknowledge one of my former students whose birthday it is today, and that's Kim Upham. Give Kim a round of applause. Kim is a longtime friend, was part of a political podcast that we did in 2018 and 2019, and one of my longtime friends. And she's also, my husband and I are going to get new pets in the fall. And Kim is a cat lover, as I am. And in our 25 plus years together, Gary and I had 2 sets of cats, and the last set passed away last year. So in September, we're planning, Gary wants to get a dog and a cat, and I want 2 cats. So that's the ongoing debate, which he always wins. I already know that we're going to get a dog and a cat because he wins all those debates. But Kim's helping me find the right cat, right? Thank you, Kim.
Every cat. I send you every cat.
All I get are cat pictures.
Yes.
I've been accused of having more pussy on my phone for a gay man in the history of the world. That was a real cheap joke to start with. But you never know these days. The neighbors next to us have a bulldog in transition. So in 6 weeks he'll be a pug. So you don't know. I like dogs, but I know dogs are a little more work than cats, right? We had a wonderful dog growing up, and Irish setter, and our dog, when I was a kid, our dog was twitching when he slept, and my mother freaked out and took the dog to the vets and paid like $50, which is a lot of money back then. I'm so old. To hear what?
Nightmares.
Nightmares, thank you. He paid the vet $50 to hear your dog is having nightmares. And I'm thinking, what is a nightmare for a dog? Is drinking from the toilet bowl and the lid falls on his head? I mean, I don't know what the delay was on that. I had no idea. There was a little, okay, well then the visual kicked in. My friend, I guess my other big cat friend is, she's a huge cat friend, is Martha Jane. She's wonderful, and she gives very creative names to her cat. Her current cat is named Chairman Meow, and was that, were you swallowing as you laughed at Chairman Meow? Yeah. With a small crowd, I try to induce a lot of that. So, all the squeals we can get, it sounds like a bigger audience, and that's good. Yeah, Chairman Meow, and a couple of weeks ago, she was in the backyard enjoying the sun, and Chairman Meow loves to knock toys around because he's a big bruiser, and she's out back lounging and reading, and she hears noises, and she says, "Oh, is baby playing with his balls?" And she hears a voice, "No, ma'am, I'm just here to read the meter." And, so a lot of fun. All right, are you guys? Are you guys? You're my designated laugher tonight. You're gonna laugh at shit that.
was really funny.
It does say comedy sports out there. The word comedy is in the title of the place we're at, so I would have expected it. But thanks. No. What is your name? I love you already.
Nicole.
Nicole, nice to meet you. What do you do, Nicole?
I'm a sex therapist.
Okay. So you're used to laughing at people's problems. Okay.
I'm used to trying.
How
very
long?
hard not
What?
to. I'm used to trying very hard not to.
Not to laugh. Wow, you're sex. Look at the guys just perked up, and some of the women too. Sex therapist. Do you have a card?
Not on me currently, no. This
Not on
is
you.
for couples and sex therapy.
Now, where do you train for this? Orgies or where do you?
No, there's a school. There's actually several programs. You can
First of
go
all,
to.
go back to the school because that's a campus I want to attend.
There's several you can go to. One in Michigan, the Central Institute of Integral Studies at California. I could go on about this. I got to answer this question.
Which school did you go to? In which
The
state?
California one.
California
It's in San
one.
Fran.
Is there an incestuous campus in Arkansas? Is there? And what do you have to do to graduate from? I want to know what the thesis is.
They pay them $6,000 and take the classes.
Okay, so
You have to be a therapist.
you're
You have to be
organically learning about prostitution. Okay, so no, I'm sure it's a great. And what is the degree? Is it a?
So that's a certification program.
It's
You
a
have to-
certification.
Yeah, you have to get like a regular particular degree as a therapist, and then you specialize.
Oh, I see, it's a specialized thing, and you have a private practice, well, of course it's private.
Mine is a
you-
group practice.
You don't have a public practice, which corner and everything? So, where's your practice?
It is, oh God, I'm so bad at geography. I think.
Okay, well, you should know where the sex organs are, that's a start.
That's biology, not geography, different sciences.
That's what's confused me all these years. When he said go down to New Jersey, I didn't know where it was.
Literally just Google sex therapy, we're the first one that comes up.
Okay, I'm sure I have in the past. I just didn't remember you. Okay. Well, Nicole, thank you very much. And how much is the session? Just because I know everyone's interested here.
With me or with, so there's.
I don't know, is there a group of you? Is it,
It's a whole group practice because I'm an American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Sex Therapists, certified sex therapist. Sessions with me
Well,
are
I
more
wonder why you have a
expensive.
card. That won't fit on there. Okay. So,
We have residents who are students who their sessions start at I think $100.
yeah.
Students are actually really good to get therapy sessions with because they're in a shit ton of supervision. Sorry, I'm like taking time.
No, it's
Mental
me.
health and therapy is important. And then the more
We have 6 comics and a sex therapist on the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, okay.
more
So,
experienced therapists do get more expensive there, but it's all advertised on the site.
okay. And what is the name of the site?
Portlandcomedy.com.
That's one of my best students. See how quick she was? That's Ann Lindsley. PortlandComedy.com. You can take that stand-up sex therapy class. You want a guest lecture? That'll be a good show.
Actually, I love guest lecturing.
I can tell. I've seen it. Just kidding.
We're considering it already.
Yeah.
A lot of material there.
Yeah. We're in a half circle. Do we have to do the full circle here? Okay, so I was thinking Boy Scout camp. All right, now give Nicole a round of applause. I didn't expect the sex therapist to be doing that.
I don't deserve it. I get paid for it already.
Okay. And how much do you charge per hour? Last question.
Me, $225 per session because
Really?
I'm very good at that.
Okay. 225 for those 7 seconds. All right. All right, you guys ready to get this show? So I feel like I've had my money's worth. Have you? Well, that's our show tonight. I think that no, we've got. I'm glad. Good to have you here, Nicole. And I look forward to Helping Hand Sex Therapy. That's also a good name. Look, this guy is so young. He has no idea what sex is. So we got a wonderful show tonight. Coming to stage first is another friend of mine who is also a political nerd like me and like Kim, and he also collects political memorabilia buttons like I do, so he's a double nerd, and it's his first time on stage. Give him your attention and see if he's got some problems. I know you'll look and diagnose things just from looking at him.
Getting paid.
Please welcome Moses Ross. Let's get the show started. Moses Ross. Oh, let me put our sex therapy stool up here for you. I guess you work a lot with props, don't you? Moses Ross, ladies and gentlemen. This is a prop. Hope you like it.
Well, hey everyone, I am Moses Ross. I am a Gen Xer, a proud reminder of the 70s and 80s. Yes, thank you, I take that. I also do karaoke. I also do Star Trek. And yes, I'm a nerd. And I'm also a graduate from the sexual class of our friend here. And I wish I had some money. I'd make a reservation with you. That's the single dad in me coming out there. Sorry about that. So with all of this, I have to be honest. I've been having this bit of an existential crisis of late. And it's been really challenging for these Gen Xers with the positive attitudes that have been impressed upon us by Ronald Reagan and bad TV. But, you know, I have been having some problems. And it reminds me of an old classic television show that I'm sure all of you remember. That fine, upstanding show, Hee Haw. Remember that show? So there's a song there that kind of summarizes what I've been going through. You know, it's like, that's doom, despair, and agony on me. Deep, dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Doom, despair, and agony on me. I tried to integrate karaoke into this act. I just had to. But so yeah, I've been going through a little bit of problems with it, you know, and you kind of wonder what's been going on with Moses, where he's quoting Hee Haw. Well, my mom died sometime back, a few months ago, and then to top it all off, my dog died. You know, so I had this double whammy hit me. It was really hard. It was kind of a bummer. So I had two options. I could either have option one, a fair and honest assessment of my emotional state, and to be able to improve and to mature into a wise adult with all of this experience. Well, or option two, of course, heavy drinking. And that's the one I chose. Thank you, thank you. I see the work going on. The heavy drinking. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a battle of extremes for this guy, this Gen Xer here. You know, it seems like there's always the yin and the yang of life, trying to find that essential balance in our life, you know. Don't want to go too extreme on the left, you don't want to go too extreme on the right. The epitome of moderation. Well, unfortunately, it's not been that way. I tend to exercise my extremes. Like, let me give you an example of this. I'm a single dad. I've been raising my child for the last 15 years, and she has finally reached the age of ascension. She's 18, and she's this beautiful young girl, and she's full of potential and life. So there's the yin. Now, the yang is I finance all this kid stuff by doing some of the most irritating things in the world, and that is doing automated phone calls to people, some for politicians, robocalls. You familiar with them? I love robocalls. Don't you guys love robocalls? They raised my kid, thank you. No, robocalls, I tell you, I love those. I mean, my favorite TV episode of The Simpsons is when Homer purchases a robocall machine and he proceeds to phone bomb Springfield at 2 a.m. God, I admire that. I really do. It reminds me so much of 2017 and that infamous phone bombing of Lake Oswego I did. Those stiff-necked, deaf Oswegans, I tell you, they still talk about that and they still don't answer their phones. That was me. I like that. So, you know, it's all about the extremes. You know, that's how I finance it with the robocalls. And it's always a matter of just trying to find this balance and trying to understand who is Moses. Well, I guess you could say Moses is a nerd. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a proud nerd. Now, let me tell you, there is a nerd, but then there are dorks, okay? Now, there is a big difference between a nerd and a dork. You've got to be respectful of this, okay? Now, you can call me a dorky nerd, and that's completely appropriate. I think it's apropos. But if you call me a nerdy dork, man, that's fighting words. Don't call me a dork. So what's the difference between a nerd and a dork? Okay, I guess I gotta explain it to you. So a nerd is someone that is passionate about what they do, about what they believe and what they think, and know when to shut up. A dork is someone who is passionate and knowledgeable about what they believe in or what they do, and they have no social skills. They're socially inept. And that is certainly not me. So that's why it's So that's why I'm a nerd, folks. That's why I'm a nerd. And I too totally blame it all on after-school TV. I'm sorry, Gen Xers and after-school TV is what caused this nerddom in me, I hope you know. Because see, I grew up watching the finest in after-school television, the TV troika for the Gen X generation. What are they? Brady Bunch, Gilligan's Island, and Star Trek. Okay, I'm a Star Trek fan, yes, I'm a Star Trek fan. God forbid I believe in this higher reasoning for humans to live and to move on in life, and yada, yada, yada. But Star Trek is really appealed to me over the years. I feel like I've kind of always wanted to, be Captain Kirk and get all the chicks with the funny skin and such. He was a guy, he was the man. I mean, James Kirk, he was the guy. Let me tell you how much I admire James Kirk. Okay, here, I gotta show you this. Okay, I gotta get my prop. Shoot, where is that? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Did I tell you it's a prop? Okay. Here. What you see here is, I received this from Starfleet Academy, thank you. Starfleet Academy. This is only graduates of Starfleet Academy get this, and I have it in my hot little hands here. Actually, what it is I bought this in Riverside, Iowa. Does anybody know the significance of Riverside, Iowa? I'm not hearing any Star Trek fans here. Oh, it is, yes!
James Kirk's hometown!
It is the future birthplace of Captain James T. Kirk, who was born on March 22nd, 2233. It's a Friday.
You know more than I do.
That's why I'm a nerd and you're a sex therapist. So yeah, I went to Riverside, Iowa, and they even actually have a statue of James T. Kirk on the outskirts of town, right before you come in. So yes, I was in nerd heaven for a day or two, thank you, and I got this cool little Star Trek here, and I got my picture taken with James T. Kirk. And you have 210 years to plan your visit to Riverside, Iowa. So go do that, which I did. So, Star Trek. God, I love that Star Trek stuff. Let me give you another example, though, unfortunately, of my nerd. And that is I work in politics. And, in politics, there's two types of people. There are the wonks and the hacks. Wonks are people that are policy. Hacks are the people that, get people elected. Well, okay, so I was a hack, I admit it. I get people elected. So, but one of the byproducts of being a hack is that you get all these really cool buttons. Because every candidate has a button. Ask my man Carl, he has a collection of thousands of them. Mine is a little less extreme than Mr. Wolfson. I have hundreds, maybe thousands. Hundreds. I have hundreds. I'm not going to get into the dork scene here. Okay, I have hundreds. But I just wanted to show you how much I enjoy this. I wanted to show off one of my buttons here, and I'm going to get to my prop here if you don't mind. Oh, God, I got that button. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. All right, this is my prized possession. And this is from the 2020 campaign, obviously for Joe Biden, because I'm in Denver, and we're in Portland, and I have principles, damn it. So this is my pride and joy. I want to show it off to everybody. Can you all see it? Can you all see it? Isn't it cool? Can't read it? It says minimalist for Biden. This is my prize button. I tell you, it's been a long, strange trip for this kid, I tell you. Since growing up in Salt Lake City, Utah, of all places. I grew up in Salt Lake, and my mom was Catholic Mexican, and my dad was a White toast Mormon, thank you. So obviously that had major effects on my upbringing. I remember my mom, grandma, let me just start with grandma first. Grandma, my mom's mom, as Mexican as they got. She makes the best tamales. Gosh, I can taste them now. And then my mama, she came across the Rio Grande on my grandmother's shoulders. I mean, talk about dedication. And then you've got my dad. Oh, and I should mention too, good Catholic. You know, mom and grandma were good Catholics. And so, you know, she'd slap my hand if I didn't put $1 in the collection plate. You know, that sort of thing. And so, Dad, our history goes back with Dad, all the way back to the beginnings of the Mormon Church. I have a great-great-grandfather who was a first lieutenant to Brigham Young and Joseph Smith. And as you might know, Joseph Smith, he was the founder of the church because he got approached by some angel by the name of Moroni, and who guided him to these golden plates that he conveniently located about blocks away from this place in upstate New York. Don't ask me that one. And then interpreted them, you know, divine intervention, and created the Book of Mormon, you know, the Book of Mormon. So that was the basis of all of that. And it kind of put me in a weird situation personally, because here I realized finally what was really bugging me was it's all about the plates. Grandma, her deal was tamale plates. With Dad, his deal was with these golden plates, and with Grandma, with the Catholics, it was the collection plate. I have this mental image of my grandma and just dumping tamales on these golden plates, these golden Mormon plates. I love it. I love it. Just a poke in the eye, if you know. So, anyhow, the plates made a big deal about it all, and you know, it's funny. It kind of came all together when I was born, because when I was born, I was born prematurely. Mom was in a car accident. She was small, and so Dad had to run home and get a wicker basket that we used for picnics. And they brought it back to the hospital, and they put me inside of it. The nurses there said I looked like Moses in the bulrushes. You know. So, I know, that's a good name. Luckily, it was a Catholic hospital, because if it was a Mormon hospital, I would have been called Moroni. So it was close. It was really close, I tell you. So, I'll sum up with this Gen X nerd here, self-avowed, Gen X nerd here. I'll leave you with a song, a paraphrase song from the Bellamy Brothers, of all people. He's an old Gen Xer. He's not trying to create a fuss. He knows he's got to have he's not trying to create a fuss. Oh, he doesn't want to change no one. He's just trying real hard to adjust. Live long and prosper, guys.
Moroni! Give it up for Moroni! Well, Moses Ross, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea, my husband's a big Trek fan, science fiction fan. I had no idea about the Iowa-Kurt connection. But it's true, right? Yeah. You didn't make that up?
No, that's true.
Absolutely. What's the name of that city in Iowa?
Riverside.
Oh, Riverside. I performed in 13 cities in Iowa, but not Riverside.
There's a reason.
Yes. I don't think they get me there. Actually, the audience is pretty good in Iowa. I remember I was in Council Bluffs, and there was a guy in the audience, and they have a state joke, by the way, in Iowa. You know what it is? The guy in the audience told me, he goes, this is our joke. You know what IOWA stands for? This is what he told me, idiots out wandering around. So I said to him, is that an acronym? And he goes, no, that's just the way it is. So, I was like, fuck. Okay. Welcome to Iowa. I just found out tonight that Patrick is from Wisconsin. I didn't know that.
Go Badgers.
Go Badgers. I had no idea, which makes sense because I think the nicest people in the world, for some reason, seem to be from the Midwest. It's just, they're just a down-home thing. Do you find that true?
I do, and people from Wisconsin get super excited when they find other people from Wisconsin.
I know. Wisconsin are the proudest people. They come up to you. These are my kids, Gouda and Velveeta. They're individually wrapped. All right, calm down. Yeah, Wisconsin's like. One more time for Moses. Thank you for doing that great job. And I have to tell you, it's great to take a break. One thing great about our class, you don't have to watch the news. I have actually just turned the TV off. I'm a political hound. I love to watch politics, but I just can't see Trump's face anymore. I just need a break, right? We just don't need to see that fucker, right?
Right.
I mean, it's the best thing you can do. He should just at least take a vacation. Take an excursion to see the Titanic. Something. Just get going. All right, thank you. All right, thanks, Moses, for getting us started off. And coming to the stage now, a gentleman who just rocked the place on Friday night. And Friday night was amazing. We had 3,000 people there on Friday. It was unbelievable. And we're sitting on trapezes up there. It's amazing. He just killed, as he will do tonight. Please welcome Gray Linnea, ladies and gentlemen. Gray!
I just turned 53 recently. I too am happy that I'm not dead. You hit 53 and I don't know, I look at myself in the mirror and all I can see is this sort of salt and purple hair and I like this side of the audience. Because my hair is purple. Yeah, and I don't know. I look back, I've been sort of assessing my life and looking back on the olden days and back when I was still cool. Yeah, who in the audience is in their 20s? All right, Nicole. I'm going to use you as a prop. We're not having a dialogue. So I'm going to say stuff to you, and you just ignore me and fantasize about naked 20-year-olds. So for example, when I was in my 20s, I was a gay rights activist, and I was a recording engineer for national bands. The big scene back then was industrial music and grunge. Nicole? You see, industrial music. Imagine you're a microphone feeding back, and there's a rave going on, and then there are these midgets hitting garbage can lids together. I won't explain grunge.
I know what industrial music is.
You've forgotten your role already. In my 30s, I was in a touring heavy metal band. I got you, Vince. And in my 40s, I was arrested on the border of Kazakhstan. That is That's an amazing story that I'm not going to tell you today. Now I'm in my 50s and I'm getting offers from the AARP. Thinking about getting some of those discounts. Yeah, so back when I was awesome, I used to live on communes. Nicole. So a commune. I want you to imagine like a beautiful woods and there's a farm there. And there's like a petting zoo. But all the animals are hippies. And they're just petting each other. While I was living on the commune, I got a job at Capital One Credit, the credit card company. And If you think that was an awkward juxtaposition, you are correct. On my first day, my manager had one of those like get to know you icebreaker meetings, and he said, you know, say your name and share something quirky about you. The first guy is like, my name's Luke, and I guess the quirky thing about me is I bought a house. Next guy is like, my quirky fact is I recently got married. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines quirky as unusual in a compelling or appealing way. The people of Virginia do not know what quirky means. Capital One's in Virginia. So it came around to me, and I'm thinking, I can show these people what quirky is. And I'm going through my little mental Rolodex of, my signifiers, and I'm bisexual, polyamorous, neurodivergent, mentally ill, anarchist, sort of cis-light. I'm not explaining that one. But I'll tell you. So I just decided, I just went with, hello, my name's Gray, and I live on a commune. Yep, that's how it was met in the meeting, too. Dead fucking silence. Thing eventually ended, and I'm going back to my cubicle, and this sort of good old boy comes up to me, and he's like, so, do y'all have wife swapping? No, my good sir, we do not have wife swapping. You see, wife swapping suggests that women are property to be passed from man to man, which kind of goes against the whole commune. People have a lot of weird ideas about communes. It's always just all this shit like, do you guys have a guru? No. Do you guys have lots of guns? We do not. Do you guys worship space lizards? It's just one guy. Ari's trying as hard as he can, he's trying to get through life, and we're just sort of taking care of it. And I bet at this point some of you are just like, but did you have orgies? Of course we had orgies. So many orgies. Orgies are how hippies close out the week. So as I mentioned, I'm bisexual. I identify as being attracted to two different genders, bisexual. People have different definitions in our community. If you're Kinsey 6, 100% gay, then your definition of a bisexual is a traitor to the cause. Muddying the waters of gay freedom. If you're Kinsey 1, 100% straight, then bisexual means just another gay guy. That's right, Denny. You can crush all the puss you want, but you sleep with one guy. It's time for your rainbow flag. I slept with more than one guy. Orgies, communes, veganism. It actually was true at the time. Thank you. Okay, we're back in the meeting. Veganism. Veganism means that I'm going to owe Nicole about 9 drinks. So as I mentioned, bisexual. There was a point where I was in San Francisco on a date with this guy. And I already knew I wasn't going to sleep with this guy because, Men are terrible. All right, I tried this on Friday and nobody laughed, but I'm doing it again just because I got some claps, right? Like, well, first of all, where's my queer family in here? Like, thank God for this section.
Be nicer to me.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys a story. Yeah, on Friday, I had the suggestion that people should not have sex with misogynists. And I asked the audience to sort of like take a pledge not to fuck misogynists. And nobody would do it! I mean, were they afraid their boyfriends would leave? I don't know. And I want to say, if there are any misogynists in the audience, you're not allowed to masturbate anymore. Like, figure out your shit. Anyway, I'm on a date with this misogynist idiot, and we got this conversation about how neither of us had ever been to a leather bar. So a leather bar. There's a certain, some gay men like to dress up in, like in leather, like motorcycle, and there's like just a big value on like being muscular and manly. And they have bars, which they call leather bars. So we talked about, neither of us had ever been to a leather bar. Let's go check it out. We hop in a cab. We go to a really bad part of town. Warehouses around us and wrecked cars. We come to the building, and all I see is a line of motorcycles and like loud heavy metal music just blaring from inside. I screwed up my courage and I went up to the door. I opened it up and realized we were going to die. This was apparently a Hell's Angels bar. Beards down to their bellies and denim vests. My heart is thumping. I'm thinking about leaving, but the idiot I'm on a date with is blocking the door. And then a naked man in cowboy boots walked by, waving a pride flag. Everything was okay. In that moment, I discovered there are whole subsections of gay that I am deeply unfamiliar with. And it was the 90s, we didn't have an internet, so. So anyway, all the fear I had in the door of the leather bar was, it made me realize how desperately I had to pee. I had a very full bladder. I was very proud I hadn't peed myself in the door. And so, quirky fact about me, I'm kind of a shy peer. My preference is to pee in stalls, in an empty bathroom, in a building with no people. That's my comfort zone, right? So I made my way to this bathroom. There is a stall. It has no door on it. I won't say whether there were two men having sex in it at the time. Yes.
Obviously.
There were no urinals in this bathroom. All they had was this long trough along one wall with a bunch of muscular dudes standing in it. This was not good. I finally went up to the trough and realized that, oh, there's a mirror along the length of the trough, right at dick level. This was an extreme peeing event. Brought to you by Red Bull. So I'm doing my breathing exercises, just trying to let go, ignore the world, trying to align my pee chakra. I lived on comedy. And while, almost made progress, and then this, snaggly-toothed, drunk old guy staggers into the bathroom. I can say that because I'm old now. And he went to the end of the line, and he asked the gentleman there, "Would you like a blowjob?" And the gentleman said, "No, thank you." Now, if I had been in that situation, the asker, we're not even going to ask you. If I had asked someone that and they said, "No, thank you," I would have said, "Thank you for your honesty." Then I would cry inside and go home to watch a Hallmark movie while eating Ben & Jerry's right out of the can. This was not Mr. Snaggletooth's way. Mr. Snaggletooth was more in the sort of bartering school. Picking people up. And he's cajoling this guy. He's arguing with him. "Why don't you apply that? No, 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 no." They argue for, I assume, 10 years. I'm still not peeing. He finally gives up on this guy. And he turns and comes one gentleman closer to me. Da-dum. Da-dum. He argues with this guy about whether he wants a blowjob or not. No dice. He argues with the next gentleman. And like a shark fin in the ocean, he comes ever closer to me. Dun, 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 dun. So I realize my bladder's full. I have maybe 3 options. The first, pee my pants. The second, run away while peeing my pants. And the third, to use an incredible force of will to stop my own heart and die. And then probably pee my pants. Mr. Snaggletooth gets to the guy right next to me, and before he can say anything, the guy says, "Before you ask, yes, I would like a blowjob tonight, just not from you." Mr. Snaggletooth is not the victim here. Do you remember the guy standing here with the shy bladder? So, it's the bottom of the 9th. Chips are down. Sports analogy. It's time to pee or get off the trough. Was that clever? I thought it was funny. So, Mr. Snaggletooth still argues with the guy a little bit, which is amazing, I'd say. And he finally gives up on the gentleman. Dun, 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 dun. And he turns. And he walks right past me and doesn't ask me if I want a blowjob! I've never felt so conflicted in my entire life. I wanted to yell after him, "Hey, you didn't ask me if I want a blowjob!" I don't, by the way. But it would have been polite to ask. Thank you all.
Great one there, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on for Greg. I do wonder why people are going to the bathroom right now. Okay, well, it's Kim's birthday, so. Miss Idris has a little gift for her. One more time for Greg. Great job, Greg. Greg told me before he went, he's very excited because he's just got his first booking opening at Ron DeSantis rallies across the country. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And you sat down next to the sex therapist.
We're friends. That's why
Of course
I'm
you
here.
are. I know who writes his material.
I wasn't even born yet when that happened.
I know. See, I actually, I'm a Kinsey 6, by the way, thank you for, I knew I was gay in the 5th grade. I was in love with Martin, the captain of the kickball team, and that's true. And the only we had a sex education class when I was young, in 10th grade. But back then they called it Attitudes, Growth, and Development. And it was taught by a gym teacher who happened to be a physical therapist and called himself Doc Roland. My conservative mother was pissed. He's not even a real doctor. The only thing I remember from that class is that he said men with sexuality are like a light switch. You turn them on and they're on, you turn them off, turn it off and they're off. Women, he said, are like irons. You plug it in, takes a while to warm up, unplug it, takes a while to cool down. What do you say, Nicole? I think that was... So I went home and I kind of flicked the light switch on and off, hoping it was like a signal for my next door neighbor, Billy Polidor, to come in with a raging boner or something, but he never showed up. I just wrote that in this moment. Ray, I was kidding about the bathroom. You should really... I did convince Patrick to have a mirror installed. All right. One more time for Moses and Ray. Coming stage now. I got to really keep an eye. You should have an ankle brace up if you follow you wherever you are. Our next performer has been in a couple of my classes. A true delight. Please welcome John Burton, ladies and gentlemen. John Burton. John, where's John? There he is, all canned and ready. Come on. From the suburbs, bring him out. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta set up my stuff here because this is my teleprompter. Place doesn't have that stuff here. So, hold on, scrolling up. Okay, here we go. So I'm kind of a big deal. It's my second show. I played Friday. This stadium tour is kicking my ass. I mean, I'm sorry all the Burton merch got sold on Friday. I would have printed 20 more shirts. I mean, how do I know? Well, so I took a class 6 months ago, did a stand-up routine. It wasn't good. They invited me back to do another stand-up. That was Friday. I paid for the class, so they invited me back. So after this Ivy League education that I received, I mean, comedy sports is the Harvard of the West. Thought I could be a motivational speaker. Maybe an influencer. I'm on Instagram. I have 4 followers. Yeah, so talked about a few things that first go up, and talked about Janice and accounting. You know Janice, she's got that 4 decaf shot, sugar-free vanilla latte. It's a venti. Eating a fucking jelly-filled sugar donut. Little lip jelly right here. Funnier than my first class. You can imagine that. My divorce. I know, it's a shock, isn't it? I mean, Jesus. Where's Nicole? Funnier than my first stand-up. I mean, it was incredible. Wife 2.0 loves me. She's great. The fact that she's into lesbian is helpful. I mean, 1.0, I mean, shit. That jet pack with 4 double D batteries and Dilbert the dildo, I mean, that's an alternate power source for your Tesla. I mean, it was a AAA written on the side. It was incredible. So, 1.0 though, it wasn't really her fault. I mean, well, I mean, it wasn't entirely, I mean, I can't control this. I mean, like this. I mean, I'd be a lesbian too. So you'll catch up. So, so she would go on these trips to Palm Springs 3, 4, 7, 12 times a year with the girls. She would send pictures of dinners, swimming, pillow fights. It's like, God, she's so thoughtful. Until I realized we had the same Shutterfly account and she was making a memory book. Had nothing to do with me. Yeah, so my stand-up last winter was so bad, I almost got expelled from Comedy Sports. It's true. It was terrible. I mean, I'm the first person in history to this. Okay, so I thought I was in a safe space. I really did. I mean, look, George Carlin, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, I mean, they all started somewhere. I'm like, I'm with my people. I mean, Carlin and I have a lot in common. We're both short. Chappelle, Rock, taller. So anyway, so Carlin had this bit where the 1972 FCC, Federal Communications Commission, they sanctioned him. They really tried to get him in trouble. Because he had this bit, 7 dirty words you cannot say on television. I would urge you, I can't say them here. I'll get expelled again. So, I would urge you to take your children, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, all the littles, go home, go on the World Wide Web, look up that George Carlin's 7 dirty words you can't say on television. Help your children. Give them some expanded vocabulary. It will serve them well. They'll make them better people. It's played well for me. I mean, it's just incredible. So I got in a lot of trouble. And I mean, listen, meetings took place, conversations had, emails sent and received. It was that bad. There was even talk about sending me to Florida to work with piss, fuck, cunt, motherfucker, cocksucker, and sugar tits DeSantis. Yeah, so I'm a recovering Republican. You know, this happened on Friday too. I've had 2 classes with all Republicans. I don't understand it. Usually it's all Democrats. So I'm a Republican, I'm not a Republican, I'm a recovering Republican. I moved into unincorporated Multnomah County. I live in a house. I still have a Lake Oswego address. Baby steps. You can't ask for everything all at once. Jesus Christ, give me a break. So, yeah, so we're going to look at my notes again. That's what I do. Okay, here we are. Okay, So terrible. George Carlin, we talked about that already. Meetings were had. Yep, okay, recovering Republican. Yeah, so I've taken an advanced comedy class. Still not funny. I'm still on Instagram, but I have 1 follower. It's me. I follow myself. Lots of thumbs up and hearts. So it's pretty good. Had a birthday recently, and I can officially tell you that I'm closer to 80 than I am 18.
Yeah!
Oh yeah.
That's my dad.
And that's my daughter. Don't tell your mother. Oh, Nicole, that's a great question. It's a little embarrassing though. Okay, I'll answer it. Does the carpet match drapes? No. This tumbleweed just happened to get tapped in.
That's not my dad.
And you're not my daughter. God, she's funnier than I am. So I'm just going to talk about this very obvious thing because I can't change this. I am the poster child for all things that are wrong in the world. I am a white, privileged male. It's true. I can't change it. At all. And along with that, my family thinks I'm fussy. I'm the worst kind of fussy because I don't see it. Like old white privileged males. So, I made a list of things that they think are absolutely ridiculous. So, my deodorant comes wrapped in orange tissue paper from Paris, like everybody else's. Body wash from London. Shoes from Italy, purchased through my broker Alfredo in Miami. I get my teeth cleaned 3 times, not 3 times, every other month. I get gas, the same shit they use for root canals. I'm a wimp. Yeah, I'm not sure when shampoo became product, but that shit comes from Paris too. I'm the first one on and off an airplane, and I'm not the pilot. I dry clean my t-shirts and my sheets. My monthly dry cleaning bill is the same the average American spends on their sedan. I get manicures and pedicures. Now this one, you see, listen, have you ever tried to open a pudding cup? It's hard. Fucking snack pack. What else we got? Oh, I love German convertible cars. In fact, speaking of which, okay, this is so weird. So I go to Chevron to get gas. I love Chevron. I think they have best gas, coolest logo. I mean, that's really where you want to go there. It's good stuff. So I run in, and I got my special convertible, fancy fucking car, tops down, and the kid at the gas station says, "Hey, is that a convertible?" The kid needed the win. I said, "Yes, it's a convertible." So anyway, that's kind of weird. I shower 3 times a day. People think it's weird. I just call it game ready. Oh, and I've got pronouns. I do. I think they should really depict who you are as an individual. What do you believe in? Mine. Are you ready? Do I hear them? They're juicy. Prada, Rolex, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Fidelity Investment. Yep, those are my pronouns. So basically, I'm an asshole. You'll catch up. 1939 house, my wife and I moved into this house. That'd be 2.0, because 1.0 and I got divorced because she was a lesbian. Moved into this house, we had without air conditioning. It's a really cool house. No AC, there's climate change. Portland's hot as shit right now. Our house is like 95 degrees upstairs. Bedrooms are upstairs. So my wife says, "Hey, you should take your clothes off. It's hot." So I do, because I meant your shirt. I'm like, well, we're here now. So the next morning she says, "Hey, God, when you sleep, it's kind of weird. You kind of look like a porn star." I'm like, "Wow, thanks. But man, this little tumbleweed, are you kidding me? There's no career there." She says, no, you're missing it. The assisted living circuit has your name on it. I'm like, okay. So I try it. So I strip for the old ladies. They don't have cash. They write checks. You know what it's like going to Bank of America on Monday with $51 checks? It's embarrassing. Memo line, "Nice to meet you." MEAT. You hunk. Sorry, Greta. Yeah, so 2.0 and I were sitting around and we decided we were fat, so we wanted to join an athletic club to get in shape. So we go to Dick's to buy some athletic clothes and look the part. So we joined this club, go to Dick's. Little did I know that Dick's was a foreshadow of what I was about to experience in the locker room. I don't know if you've all been to a locker room lately, but the men's locker room is disgusting. It's just naked people running around, and they want to talk to you standing like this. It's like Mighty Mouse. It's like, oh man, why can't they just shower with their clothes on like I do? I don't get it. So bizarre. So this is kind of weird. I threw it in here because I read it in the news and it's just so disturbing, but it had some questions. I don't know, has anybody read the story about the Penn State professor? I'm not looking at you because you're a sex therapist. Maybe, did you read the article? It's twisted.
No, but I can guess maybe what you're talking about. He did something sexually weird.
He fucked his dog.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, right? Okay, the question I have,
It's
and,
on camera.
oh, it's on camera?
It was a videotape in a park, and the cops caught him on camera doing it to his dog.
Wait a minute, he didn't go home, light a candle, and get some Chardonnay going? He was out in public?
He takes his dog for a walk in the park.
Okay, that's even worse than I thought. So, I have more questions, but we'll get to you later. What I want to know is, was the dog over 18 and was it consensual? I mean, there's just a lot going on there to unpack, but, oh man. So we have a new puppy. Her name's Poppy and she eats her own poopy. So cute and gross. So she eats her own shit. So we go to the vet and there's that, and we, because it's good, we don't think it's good for the dog. So we, right. So we go to the vet, and they say, well, here's some powder you can put on the food, so when the dog eats poop, it tastes worse than shit. Okay, so who's the kid that drew that short straw in training? Okay, so we're gonna try some shit. Tell me how it tastes. Then we're gonna try the shit with the powder and tell me it tastes worse. I don't know, not a job I'd want. So they put me in third position tonight because I'm so shitty as a comedian. And thank you, you've been great.
Thank you, John Burton, John, give a round of applause. And did you want to buy that John Burton t-shirt and you're kind of sad?
It's from Italy.
His broker is selling those. Actually, John didn't take the class. He sent a broker to take the class for him and send him the jokes back. One more time for John Burton. So, the woman in the audience who has evidently seen that dog fucking video about 50 times is my former and future student, Therese Lang. Thank you, Therese. So you evidently enjoyed that video?
I didn't see the video, I read the story.
Oh, sure you did. So you read about it?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just appalled.
Sounds like it. Yeah, that'd be a good walk in the park, huh? No, that wasn't even a joke. I know. So I want to ask you, Nicole, having seen John here for about 10 minutes, what would you do with him?
There's too many places to start. We gotta narrow it down.
Okay.
Can I ask Nicole?
This is great because this is John's daughter, and we're really getting into Jerry Springer territory right here. Yeah.
Do you know the name of a good family therapist? I do. If you give me your contact information after the show, I can
Oh,
give you
Jesus
some
Christ.
Portlandcomedy.com.
I got news for you. For what you charge per hour, you can take my 7-week course. Sign her up. Sign her up. Portland Comedy.
Honestly, with his Italian broker and all of that, I actually, it's 325. I said it wrong before.
Well, we're charging a surcharge for you in the class is what we're doing. Yeah, so just while we're on the dog and cat thing, one of the things I talk about in the class is the more visuals you create with your stories, the more impactful it will be. And I got one joke about a dog, one joke about a cat to illustrate it. And the joke, let's see, who should I choose? The cat joke. There was a comic who opened for me in Avalon on Catalina Island in the 80s. I don't remember who he was. He had one funny joke, and he ended his set with it. And he was a young kid who had just come to LA, got his first apartment. He said he got a kitten, And, you know, Noah said, get a kitten. So he got a kitten. And he doesn't know anything about kittens because he's a dude right out of college. So the kitten went into heat. So he read in a book, there was no internet, when a kitten goes into heat, you're supposed to simulate sex with a Q-tip. What? I know, calm down. What he said was, that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was strapping the Q-tip to your waist. Visual, okay? That's a visual. Yeah, you're gonna have some good stories for Monday. All right, I'll think of the dog visual later. So are you the boyfriend of the daughter of John?
Indeed I am.
Yeah, how's that going? You're quietly needing therapy.
A little too much information.
Yeah. This whole sex talk probably got you upset. Okay. Joining us now on the stage, a guy that I really got to enjoy a lot. He actually does puppetry, and he's so talented, he's not going to do puppetry tonight because he's going to do a standalone set. Please welcome Alex Prevet, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Alex Prevet. It's so wonderful to be here tonight. You may remember me from last time I was here, I think on three Fridays ago. I had a puppet with me, as Carl was mentioning. I have a wonderful puppet named Wally. He's a little purple wolf that I walk around with. Everyone loves him. Loves him more than they love me. But I like to be in the background a lot of these things. But it's this weird thing you do as a puppeteer. You know, you have these weird experiences. You know, you're kind of living out of your body while you're talking to people. And I had this weird kind of thing happen last time I did a show, which was my puppet misgendered me. Because I've been going by they, them pronouns for quite a while now. It's a thing. I decided to go with it. I've kind of felt that gender has always been sort of behind all the bad decisions I've made in my life. Like, whenever they say, that's what boys do. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go do that. I'll go date that girl. That'll be fine. That'll turn out perfectly, right? A gay boy dating a girl, there's no problem there. Didn't work out all the times I tried it. Well, so I have this puppet, and Wally misgendered me, and I didn't know what that meant. I was like, but I'm the puppet. Does that mean I'm not really non-binary? But I've kind of come to understand it now. It's like getting past gender is just something that's very difficult. It's something that's so ingrained in our minds. Even if we make that conscious decision ourselves, we still have to battle with it constantly every day to actually get through it. So even though my puppet misgendered me, he felt bad about it. And so he did apologize, so luckily now I also feel better about it. So yeah, my name is Alex. I am a nerd. Well, actually, before I get back to the nerd story, I want to sort of bookend this whole stuff that I'm doing. To say that this is a coming out story. I've never actually done this in front of people before, other than my comedy class. Other than my comedy class, I've done it in front of my therapist. So let's just, all of you are therapists. Here, I'm confessing what happened to me, to the world. I have a coming out story, but it starts with me being a nerd, all right? I'm a huge nerd. I've been going to nerd conventions my whole life, various types of nerd conventions. I've kind of gone to all the different flavors. So I started with anime. I was a big weeb for a long time. A lot of people see nodding heads, people kind of think about anime conventions. Anime conventions are fantastic. The dealer's rooms, this vast hall of just lots of things selling just all the best merch from your favorite shows. It's incredible. There's this like energy that you get when you go into the room. It's just kind of vibrating. Everyone's kind of like, ugh. There's also this smell that you go when you go to a nerd convention. It kind of smells like EO. I don't know. It must be all of that hyper nerd energy, just the vibrations just kind of shake all the disgusting particles off. So I started with anime conventions. I've been to Star Trek conventions. No Star Wars conventions, by the way. I'm a Star Trekker, not a Star Wars person. I think those two things are definitely mutually exclusive. So yeah, I've been to Star Trek conventions. I've been to board game conventions. Board game conventions are fantastic. Aren't they great? Yeah. There's a thing about conventions, though, that not a lot of people realize, is that they take place at hotels, right? People are coming from around the country to go and have this shared nerdy experience with other people. And so they take place at hotels. What do hotels have? They have a convention center, they have a swimming pool maybe, they have a shared space where people can kind of get around and kind of talk about this really nerdy subjects together. And there's also bedrooms. What happens in beds? I don't know. So I kind of broached that subject to think about, there's all these nerdy conventions. There's sex at those nerdy conventions. There's really nerdy sex. Really, really nerdy sex. Imagine it. That Star Trek convention, those Klingons and those Ferengi. Lots of latex, lots of paint in those beds. Oh, man, they're going at it at warp speed. Those board game conventions, yeah. You ever heard that whole adage about trading sheep for wood? Takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? It's a Sellers of Catan joke if you don't know. By the way, Sellers of Catan is a gateway drug. It's one of the lesser of the board games that I think of. If you're really going into the hardcore Euros, I recommend Russian Railroads. A bunch of those older, really, I digress. I'm a nerd. I told you guys that already, right? So I'm a nerd, but there's this pecking order of nerddom, I feel like. You have your more widely acceptable nerd franchises like Star Wars, Star Trek. And then you start getting some of the nerdier ones like Doctor Who. Those guys are kind of weird, kind of strange, right? I mean, it's great. The dogs are fun. They're fun. But then you get some of the weirder ones, like some of the lesser known fandoms, like the Ghostbusters people. Like they're still at it. Have you seen those old Ghostbusters costumes? They are living their best life. So, but my most nerdy thing, the thing that I nerd out the most about, is a little further down the whole nerd totem pole. So here's where I confess something that's kind of sort of deep here. I've been to a furry convention before. Thank you. You should all be going, ugh, gross. Ugh, God, nasty. I know. It's a thing. Let me back up here, and I'll talk a little bit about how I got there. I was a child that did a lot of brute memorization. I spent a lot of time memorizing things. That's kind of like it's a special power that I have. I used to memorize animal classifications, right? The Linnaean animal classifications, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. I used to just go through and root memorize all of the different canine species because, I don't know, I was 7. It was a thing that I did. And I was also obsessed with fantasy novels. There's this whole subgenre of fantasy novel that not many people will appreciate, which is the telepathic wolves in Friends. You know what I'm talking about? Like, there's the Wolfwalker series by Tara K. Hopper, fantastic. There is the Royal Assassin series where there's another telepathic wolf and a little boy, and they have great adventures together. I think the thing that they did worse with Game of Thrones TV adaptation was they cut the wolves out. They killed them too early. They were like major characters in the show. Bring the wolves back. That's what I say. Yeah, bring the wolves back. I digress though. I'm talking about nerdy conventions. I've gotten to the furry thing. I've kind of eased you into my life as a strange kind of closeted child. I wasn't really sure that I was gay. Didn't understand what the whole concept of gay was, right? It's not something you would really think about. I don't know if, children aren't born knowing that they're gay. It's something they have to kind of find out. I didn't even know what that word meant until I was exposed to it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But I think I was a furry before I was gay. Anyway, that's how I got into that's how I figured out I was gay, was the furriness. But, so I'm living my life. My parents don't know about this, obviously. They do now. They didn't know about the furriness, they didn't know about the gay thing, and I finally, everyone has overbearing parents, right? Parents that try to control them, try to know what they're doing. I didn't want to have to deal with that conversation. It's a very awkward conversation to have. Hi, Mom and Dad, I'm a wolf and I'm gay. So I just didn't have it with it. I got to college, I left. I went 5 states away so that I could live my secret gay wolf life in Michigan, southern Michigan. Oh, by the way. Yeah, you always know where you are with Michigan to put your hand up and you point where you live. Grand Rapids, heck yeah! Jackson, I'm from Jackson, where I was. Anyway, yeah, pointing your hand. So I get to college and I am living my best life. I'm experiencing new things. I'm getting online. This is, I'm gonna date myself here. For some people, this is gonna be like, oh, he's so old. And for some people, it's gonna be like, oh, he's so young. 2001. This is 2001, all right? This is a while ago. This is important to the story. So I am exploring, I'm learning new things, and I find out about this convention. Midwest Fur Fest. 2001. I see a sign, Nicole. Midwest Fur Fest 2001, it's happening. I can drive there, I'm in southern Michigan. This is in Chicago, Illinois. And I'm so excited to finally get to meet other people that are into my weird hobby. I got such a big reaction to furry, maybe I need to explain this to people. Furries are people that like anthropomorphic animals, right? They like to pretend that they're animals. It's not the same way of that professor in the park with the dog. Nothing like that. Cartoon characters, all right, everybody? I like cartoon characters. My first crush, everyone's like, oh yeah, that wonderful boy in that boys club, or our New Kids on the Block, all those like famous boy bands. I didn't have those crushes. Disney's Robin Hood is so hot. And he's not wearing any pants. Anyway, so I registered for this convention. I'm so excited. I drive there. It's like a 2-hour drive. I'm blasting Stereolab because that's what you listened to in 2000, early 2000s. And I get there, and I am just blown away. You see people coming to the nerd convention, walking across downtown Chicago in full-on animal costumes. Tails wagging, ears going up, walking into this hotel. It's like it's summoning me. It's like Mecca. It's nerd Mecca. If you've ever been to a nerd convention, that's how it feels like. It's just energy is being sucked into this convention center, into a hotel. And that was me. I was getting sucked into this hotel, and I get there, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And there's a guy, oh, he's so cute. He's taking my ticket, because you have to register your badge for the convention. He's there at this table. His name's, it's amazing. I give him my registration. He said, oh, here's your ticket. Such a cute little boy. I mean, not a cute little boy, I'm sorry. He was a cute man. That was just he was a man. I was a man. I am gay. He was gay. He was literally the first furry I talked to. Literally. I also got with him that evening. Good for you! Yay! Yeah, it was a really weird experience. Dealing with hanging with other people in costume. It's really hard to talk to people in costume, by the way, if you know that. First, it's really hard. It's really hot. It's really muffled. It's hard to have a conversation that goes like, oh yeah, I love that. Yeah. But so I'm getting to know this person. He's wonderful. His name is Ian. He's a calico cat. We really hit it off. We were talking quite a bit, and yeah. So, how should I go with this story? There's two places I can go with this. One of them is the funny part. The other one is just the sad part. Let's go with the funny part first, because that's where we're at a comedy show here. We're having this dance. All right, it's this dance. It's the furry dance. It's you have at conventions, right? It's about a bunch of people. It's the early 2000s. We're getting together, and everyone's awkwardly nerd dancing together. That weirdly awkward nerd dance. I don't think I'm properly kind of setting the stage for this story really well. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. All right. 2001. What did we listen to in 2001? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Does this do anything for everybody? I got pamphlets. Yeah, I'm doing this for me. This isn't for you. So we're having our dance, our furry dance. Everyone is awkwardly furry dancing together, kind of like this. You're not expecting it. And then there's another convention at the hotel. Can anyone guess what the other hooky convention was? Wrong.
Harley.
Harley.
Davidson.
Close. Even closer. The Naval Officers Ball. 2001! Now, they were drunk. Drunk as skunks. Not as drunk as that skunk over there that was dancing, but very, very drunk. And they come wandering out of their Naval Officers Ball 2001, and they walk into our ballroom where all the furries are dancing together. Some people are, just dressed normally, just normal. Some people are in full-in costumes, and I don't know how to explain what happened next. You think that, in this, it's 2001, no one knows what furries are yet. I think they didn't quite comprehend what they were seeing either, and plus they were drunk. So it's fine. It's fine that they did this. It's fine that they weren't the asshole Republicans yet. They were still in their infancy stage of being assholes and rejecting everything that's fun. So the wives slowly walked to the corner of the room, and the gentlemen in their full naval regalia, naval officers, admirals, captains, started dancing with the people in the costumes. I swear to God, it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And yeah, they were dancing, they were getting it on, things clanking, they were really having a great time, trying to call their wives over to dance with everybody else. Everyone's having a great time. I was there I wish I had a camera. Now, hindsight's 2020, can you think of how many political careers I could have ruined? Many asshole Republicans, it's oh, he was dancing with a fox. Out of office! Dancing with a wolf. Out of office! So yeah, that was sort of the overarching theme of that, was just this bizarre, kind of strange energy of these conventions. It's fantastic. And so I am with Ian, the Calico Cat, and we're hooking up. It happens, It is a thing that happens at conventions. Furries are, blamed for being too sexual, but hopefully I painted this. All nerd conventions have sex, even furry conventions. And furries are those people, I think 90% of us are gay, just that it is. And we also have this thing where, the people that can't look at you in the eye to kind of look away, that kind of thing, that's me as well. That as well, so neurodivergence is what I'm trying to talk about here. So we get together, we hook up. It's my first weird adult experience because there's 8 other people in the hotel room and where everyone's doing stuff together, and I'm young and it's weird, and it happens, it's whatever, it's fine. It's just a thing that happens, I'm not bragging about it, but I was in love. I was in love with Ian the Calico Cat, and I was so excited to get to know him better. We lived fairly close. It could have been a thing. I gave him, but this was coming up to Christmas. It's almost time for Christmas break, right? It's I think late November, and I know that I'm going back soon. And this is before cell phones, before widespread cell phones. So I had to give him a phone number. What number did I give him? My parents' number. It was fine. It'll be fine. I'm gonna go home in a week. I'll talk to him when I get there. So there it is. I'm packing up. It's time for Christmas break. I'm driving from southern Michigan to northern Virginia. That's where I grew up. And a phone call happened. I wasn't aware of it. It happened while I was blissfully driving down Route 66, or 95, whatever it was, to get home. And he called my dad. I don't know what that phone call went like. I only knew the aftermath of that phone call. But I imagine the phone call went something like this. Oh, is Wild there, meow? What? Excuse me? What? Oh, is Wild there, meow? I think you have the wrong phone number. No, this is the one that Wild gave me. I'm cutting it off there. So I get home, and my parents have some new information about me. 2 new pieces of information. I was gay. Well, A, I was gay and I had a boyfriend. And B, I was a furry. I don't know which one they didn't like. Which one they didn't like more. Actually, I know exactly which one. It was the gay part. It's fine. It's been so long. It's so long. I'm okay. I'm over it, guys. Go watch it. But so yeah, that's my coming out story. I came out inadvertently to my parents, both being furry and gay at the same time, and I got over it. Right after I had a little brief stint in the Navy. Not true. Not a naval officer. Thank you so much, everybody.
Alex Burley, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Burley. Yeah. Okay, we're going to change things up a little bit and have a straight guy come to the stage. Alex, one more time for Alex. I'm sure your coming out experience with your parents was better than mine with my mother, who actually said when I came out to her, well, at least you're no Ted Bundy. A mother's love. Mass murderer, gay son. Yeah. She got it honestly. Her mother was really, really conservative. I mean, I remember my grams growing up, she would talk smack about Jews, Catholics, gay men, and black people. Just casual conversation, nothing pointed. But my oldest sister married a Jewish guy. My next oldest sister married a Catholic. I'm gay, and my youngest sister married a black man. You produce what you fear. I like to think my grandmother's rolled over in her grave so many times she's rotated her way to China. Which is apropos, because she talks smack about Asia, so I'm glad to say. All right, coming to the stage, I promise, in fact, we have 2 straight men to end the show, and that's always a good show ender for me. I like to finish with 2 straight men. I can always do this material when Gary's not here, but fuck that. Actually, our next performer is really terrific. He took my introductory class in the fall and was so busy as a lawyer, he didn't have time to take the intermediate class, but he did this quarter. I'm so glad he did. He's very talented. Please welcome John Stamm, ladies and gentlemen. John Stamm!
Certified. Holy shit, I'm tall. People will come up to me and they'll say, oh my God, you're so tall. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I never realized that before. People love to ask me, did you play basketball? And sometimes when I really want to fuck with them, I'll go up to them like this. No. Did you play miniature golf? Unless I really do anything else with my life, I'm pretty sure the title of my memoir is going to be Awkwardly Tall. I am 6'7". That's 201 centimeters for everyone around the world tuning in right now. I am afraid of heights. It's a fucking bummer. The one and only time I've ever sent a dick pic to a girl, it gave her vertigo. And then I looked at the picture and it gave me vertigo. There's some interesting things about being a tall person. The dating apps were a total game changer for me. I remember when Tinder first came out and a buddy of mine was explaining to me the concept. He's actually sitting in this room. And I was like, hold on. You're telling me in lieu of developing any actual confidence or charisma in approaching women that I can just sit on the couch, chill the fuck out, and just beacon out to the world that I am 6'7", and women will just be lining up to go on dates with me. Well, sign me up. It's, it can backfire though sometimes. People look at me and they assume I'm a large person, everything is proportional. And it's happened where I've been on dates before and we're rolling along, everything's going well, but eventually we get to my penis. And I get the vibe from the person, they're like, oh. And it makes me feel like I lied to them. Like I lied on my resume to get this job. To be fair, they did not read the fine print. I did disclose on my dating profile that I'm Jewish. And I'm just saying, for all you big dick hunters out there, just know that there's a difference between a black 6'7" and a Jewish 6'7". What else about being tall? I can no longer go to public parks and playgrounds. Not because I'm a pedophile. I'm not. I just want to make that clear. No, it's because I can't stand being solicited for a pickup basketball game or to dunk a basketball, because I can't and I suck at basketball. I'm haunted by this. One time I was walking by a basketball court and there were about a dozen 10 or 11-year-old kids just playing, walking by, and of course they notice me and they get really excited. They're like, oh my God, mister, can you come here, come, please, can you dunk a basketball, come here? And I'm like, no, leave me alone, I'm trying to walk. Before I know it, they have surrounded me. And like I said, not a pedophile. But if I was, it'd be kind of easy. I'm not. Anyway, I'm surrounded and I'm trying to get out of this situation. They got me swarmed and the leader among them has the ball in his hand. He's like trying to talk me up, trying to get me to dunk this basketball. He's like, come on man, you can do it. I'm like, no. I have to convince him that I'm like, actually, dude, I can't. And eventually it hits him that I can't. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I had cancer. And he's like, you have a good day, sir. I'm like, yeah, thank you. And I swear, as I'm walking away, I heard one of them go, what a loser. Little shit. As an ambassador of the tall community, I believe it should be considered a disability. Airplanes? Are you shitting me? I can't fuck in those bathrooms. I can barely jack off in there as it is. I'll spare you the gory details, but it's a struggle in there. There are certain careers that are just unavailable to a tall person. I can never be an astronaut. Yeah, right? I went well into my 20s thinking that maybe I still had a chance for this alternative career, and I wasn't sure, and I knew I needed to have it confirmed for me from the source. As long as if I find out, I'm going to know, I think I got a shot. So I had my chance. When I was 30, I went to a book signing for Chris Hadfield. And for those of you who don't know who that guy is, he is like the face of the Canadian space program. He's a super cool guy. He's like media darling. He's got this mustache. Everyone loves him. And I'm thinking, this is my chance. I'm going to go to this book signing. I'm going to ask him. He's going to be totally cool about it. He's Canadian. Of course, he's going to be cool about it. This is going to be great. So I go there. I go to the book signing. I buy the book. I'm standing in line with a bunch of kids. Somehow. And the way it works is you get like a 5-second interval of his time. Like you give him the book, he signs it, a picture's taken, you're done, next person. So I got the book, I'm waiting, it's my turn, I'm like, here we go. Hand him the book. I'm like, sir, am I too tall to be an astronaut? He grabs the book, He looks at me for 1 second, he looks down, no joking, he goes, that wouldn't be your first problem. And like I said, this is all being done in like 5 seconds. While the picture, like he's handing me the book back and it's processing, and some picture out there exists where I'm like, what? And I swear, as I'm walking away processing this, I heard him go, what a loser. Fuck it, I'm gonna tell this story. I did play basketball in high school. It was an obligation. I was not good. I'm from Florida, and one of the schools that we played in athletics was the Florida Deaf and Blind Academy. It's in St. Augustine. And one time we played at their campus, and I remember I drove myself down there. I lived closer than the rest of the team. I'd never been there before. I drive down there, this place is huge, it's dark. I don't know where the gym is. I'm looking around, there are no signs, because why would there be? And I'm driving around, I see this girl walking by, and I pull up next to her, I roll down my window, and I ask her, do you know where the gym is? She gives me this look, like, and I go louder, I'm like, do you know where the gym is? And she gives me, and I'm like, that's right, you're deaf, okay. Got it. So eventually I find the gym, and I go inside, and this was one of the most unique experiences of my life. The gym is fully packed. It's like 400 people in there, but it's like dead silent. Because like everyone's using sign language, and I'd never experienced that before. And I get in there, and the way they play the game of basketball is there's like this giant drum that they use, that they bang on for like timeouts and shit. So like the bass, they feel it, they know when to stop. So anyway, this is 2004, I'm 17 years old, full disclosure, kind of a shithead at this time. While the game is going on, when we're sitting on the bench, we may have been cracking Helen Keller jokes the whole time. You know, it's not like any of them can hear us. Well, you know, who could hear us were the refs. They let them get away with everything that game. I got in there and I took an elbow straight to the face, and I remember turning to the ref like, hello, and he looks at me, he shrugs as he's backpedaling and goes, sorry, I guess I didn't see it. And we lost that game. And it was a doubleheader. We lost the blind kids too. I had a scary day the other day. I recently had sold my fancy digital camera to some guy on Reddit. And I remember I go to FedEx and I drop it off. And I get about a block away, I left, put it out of my mind, and I stop. And I realized, oh shit, I forgot to wipe that thing. I forgot to delete what was on there, and like, I don't know what the fuck is on this camera. I haven't used it in like 2 years. For all I know, the first thing on there is a video of my girlfriend doing a line of coke off my dick. With my social security card. And I had to go back on Reddit, find this guy, and I'm like, hey, did you happen to see anything on there? He responds back to me and he goes, yep, thank you. I now have vertigo. I mentioned I'm from Florida, and specifically I come from this faraway magical place called Miami. Imagine Portland, now imagine the exact opposite. That's what Miami is. And one of my jobs before law school was I worked as a pool boy at one of the Trump Towers down in Miami. And as part of my job, I had to serve extremely wealthy but very new money foreigners. My favorites were the Russians. If you ever go to Miami, you'll be able to call them out, you'll see them. They'll be driving their Rolls Royces and at the same time be dipping their chicken McNuggets in Coke on the dashboard. Just pure class. I'll never forget one time I'm working the beach and there's this woman who's coming back from the beach, and this is this big, old, haggard Russian grandmother, and she's wearing this matching like one-piece sequin swimsuit and this Gucci sequin hat, this big Chanel sunglasses, and she's got this scowl on her face, and she's heading right towards me, lumbering over. Okay. She comes up, she says this to me, she goes, "The beach is too sandy. You do something about this, yes?" I'm like, yeah, I'll get right on that. Yeah, no problem. I also worked with a bunch of foreigners, and it was a really cool experience. One of the guys I worked with, he was Brazilian. His name was Juliano. And one of his side gigs, in addition to being a pool boy, was he worked as a recruiter for a porn production company in Miami. And what he would do was, he would go out to clubs, South Beach, whatever, and he would approach guys, couples, girls, and he would tell them, "I can get you money to fuck on camera." And apparently it worked. He was super good at it. And I remember while he's describing this to me, he's telling me what he does, I'm standing there like, adjusting myself, and he goes, no, you're Jewish. I was like, fair point. Boy, and I was thinking, when he was telling me that, like, you gotta be a suave Brazilian guy to pull that job off. Like, you can't imagine me, this cousin Greg looking motherfucker. Like, like lurking in the club, coming up to like, I was thinking maybe like I could get you kind of like into like an adult film situation, like for money, like it'd be like totally consensual, like that would not go well. I remember my favorite conversation I had with Juliano, my colleague. We were talking one day. I don't know how it came up. I used the word abstinent, and remember, he's a Brazilian, he speaks Portuguese, English is his second language, and he stopped me and he's like, "What did you just say?" And I go, "Abstinent?" He goes, "Abstinent? What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's where you voluntarily choose not to have sex as a lifestyle?" And he goes, "What?" And I realized, I just blew his fucking mind. This is a Brazilian. These are the most beautiful sexual people on the planet. They don't have a concept of abstinence. It's like explaining a color you've never seen before. I love meeting people like Juliano. I love meeting people from all over the place. I love picking up on all the different expressions and sayings and isms that people have from where they come from. I learned one recently. It's from Texas. And the expression goes, you're referring to someone else and you go, "He's all hat and no cattle." And that basically means that the person you're talking about is a poser, like they're full of shit. And I was trying to think what the Portland version of that expression would be. I think I got it. She's all bangs and no bush. I was thinking, that'd probably be the perfect name for a coffee shop in this city. Bangs and bush. Speaking of coffee shops, I had a very, very exciting day the other day. I'm at my local coffee shop with my girlfriend. We're working, and we're sitting there, and I notice about 12 feet away from me, there's this guy, and I'm thinking, I know this guy. Where do I know this guy from? And I'm racking my brain, and I realized we knew each other when we were kids in the 90s. We went to Jewish sleepaway camp together. The good kind. I've seen his dick. It was the biggest dick I've ever seen. Holy shit, it's that kid. He's all grown up. Oh my God. holy shit. And I'm sitting there freaking out because like, he doesn't recognize me. I don't, and I know who he is. No one else knows who he is and what he's got. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like, holy shit. And I'm trying to like, kind of shaking it. I'm shaking right now. Remember, this is so exciting. I'm sitting there with my girlfriend and I'm like, trying to tell her what I noticed right now. And again, we're working and I'm like gesturing to her. I'm like, oh God, his dick. And she can't hear me. She's like, what? She's working. So I take the piece of paper with the Wi-Fi password on, I turn it over and I write down, I know that guy, I've seen his dick. I pass it to her, she looks at it, she goes, what the fuck? I'm like, I know, it's awesome, right? She goes, you're an idiot. I'm like, same here. And so I'm sitting there, like, I don't know what I do with this power. Do I go up to the guy? What do I do? Like, I didn't go up to him, and I regret that. But we go home, and there were two things that I realized when we got home. Number one, someone eventually closed up that coffee shop. Someone found that piece of paper. It says, I know that guy, I've seen his dick. The other thing that I realized was, wait, hold on. No way that kid was Jewish. Sorry.
Great job, John Stam, ladies and gentlemen. John Stam, come on. Really just great. And on Friday night, his set was so good, right after just swarms of kids around it. It was unbelievable. I've never seen the magnetism like that. One more time for John. John. We're having got a great time tonight. We have one more act. So good. I'm so proud of all my students. At PortlandComedy.com, we have two seats left for the introductory class in the summer. It's just two, and you can find out more or sign up at PortlandComedy.com. It's really a fun class, and Gary gets me out of the house 2 nights, 3 nights a week. In the summer, I come home happy. Everybody's happy. Coming, and you know, one thing about the class is that the age range is 20s on up. And we have perhaps our youngest student coming to the stage now. Please welcome, he's hilarious, Terry Lichwater, ladies and gentlemen. Terry. Come on, hear it for Terry.
Safety. I've fallen 4 times in the past few months, and so I'm taking no chances. It turns out that my left foot, I can't feel much in parts of it, and that does amazing things to your balance. It really fucks it up. Nicole.
Yes? Cialis or Viagra?
Now there's a professional. I've tried both. Long ago. Cialis I like.
Most people prefer Cialis.
But it's expensive.
That's also true.
Well, what I was going to ask, you're supposed to, comedian takes advantage of the situation as presented to him. So I was going to ask you, what has been your success rate with the octogenarian class?
I think my older clients honestly do better than my younger ones.
Can I have your card?
The Center for Couples and Sex Therapy.com.
Now I'm 83. My wife is 95. And she's here tonight. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, but, when a younger man marries an older woman, the younger man cannot get any sympathy of his advancing age. This is the only second venue that I've ever done this at. The first one, the setting was such that the lights in your face, I couldn't see the audience at all. I can see you. You scare me. Now, the first thing that I have to say is, you're all so fucking young. Now, this is a slight problem, which I shall explain. I'm going to be talking in a minute about, actually, no, I'd give it away if I mention it. A experience that happened when I was 15 years old, that year, okay? That was in 1954, 55. Nicole, what were you doing in 54?
My parents weren't born yet.
Oh, God. Respect your elders. Okay. Well, anyway, such is life. You know, you get old, and it's normal, I think. At least I hope it is, because it's happening to my wife and it's happening to me. We start thinking about the things that happened in the past. You know, that's what the regrets are. You know, some things that we did, some things that we didn't do. But the really, really big regrets come under the class of things that we should have done, but didn't do. This is really bad. My biggest regret is at that age of 15, I didn't masturbate enough. I should have wanked more. A lot more. You see, here's the thing. Age 15 is the prime year for developing the male sex organ by frequent and proper use. Right? This is true. I've got a book at home this thick and no pictures that told me this. Plus I looked some things up on the internet. At the age of 15, I'll have to turn sideways a little bit here. Look over here, you're gonna have to imagine this. At the age of 15, should stand up for this. I think I can do that. There we go. Success. I love success. Okay, my legs are on the vertical, right? The male erection at age 15 is the maximum as measured by the angle on the vertical from the leg up to the underside of the penis. At age 15, that angle is 165 degrees. Now, at age 18, that has dropped to 145 degrees. In other words, by age 25, and of course it continues on downward, as Nicole could tell you. All right, so that proves that it's at age 15 that we really, really, really need to do this. Males, now I don't mean to put you gals aside. It's just that I couldn't find any statistics on the angle of erection of the clitoris. Not that I didn't look. And I spent an honest time of research on it. And you know this thing of the girls squirting? I didn't think that was true. But God, I found some videos that are So you gotta do it when you're young. So I have decided that I'm gonna go on a crusade to enlighten male 15-year-olds to this fact. Now there's a problem there. I'm an adult. What happens if I talk to a 15-year-old about sex? They come and they put cuffs on me and they arrest me and they put me in prison for the rest of my life. So I'm telling you, if you have kids that are 15 or whatever coming up, keep them appraised. So now you're of course wondering, why didn't I masturbate enough? Fear. Plain and simple. You see, you have to realize that back then was not a wank positive time. It was definitely wank negative. Negative. Yeah, negative. God was watching. And he was one mean motherfucker. If you did what he didn't like, he would smite you. Now, smite is a biblical term. It occurs in the Old Testament 113 times in the King James Version. None of them good. I mean, he would smite people with lice and rabies and rectal dysfunction. No, not that. But, things like he would kill their firstborn, he would kill them. But, bad news. Now, the consensus was among myself and my friends, we had heard, and not quite sure where, that he would tolerate 3 wanks a day. But at the 4th wank, the hammer would fall. And his preferred way of smiting we wankers was to cause hair to grow on your palm. Now, some people also said that blindness could be, did you use that sometimes? Others said driving you crazy. But we didn't worry about those because, blindness and being driven crazy, hell, that happens all the time. But hair on your palms immediately identifies who you are. And we couldn't, my God, this was the 50s. So, we wanted to wank more. We felt that, 6 times a day was more appropriate than 3. What do you think, Nicole? I think she started to clap there.
No comment.
Okay, so, but we needed more information on how we were going to conduct ourselves, how we could work around this rule of not wanking 4 times. Now, first of all, we thought, okay, is it 4 times a day cumulative? Like, for example, what was it, 4 times a day adding up both hands? Or would we allow 3 times a day with this hand and 3 times a day with that hand? Now, if that's the case, we had it made. The morning wank, the mid-morning wank, the afternoon wank, the mid-afternoon wank, the evening wank, and the bedtime wank. 6 wanks. Got it made. But then there were other questions. And that is, what if you started with this hand, but finished with this hand? Did that increment the wank count of both hands or just one? Well, the first workaround that I tried was, okay, I'm just going to wank with one hand and I'm going to let the hair grow. And I have to use my left hand because I'm very right-handed. So I experimented, and yeah, it's possible I could wank with my left hand. Didn't really like it. I mean, it seemed very unnatural. In later life, I was to compare it with fucking with a condom. I tried that once. I'll never try it again. Never try it again. Just plain not worth it. weekend, but you know, okay, so, but I got to thinking about, okay, let's say I wank with my left hand and the hair grows and then I stick the hand in the bucket. Let the hair grow, nobody's gonna see it. But then when I go to help somebody and they say, hey Terry, pick up that box over there, would you give it to me? So I stroll over to the box and if I could walk, I would do this. And, you know, try to pick it up with one hand and, you know, the guy's watching me and he says, Terry, use both hands. What am I gonna say? I only got one? So that's not workable. Well, anyway, I did finally find a solution to the problem. The vacuum cleaner. My reasoning was, if the instrument of the masturbation did not physically touch the hand, either hand, no hair. Right. I developed a relationship with our vacuum cleaner. It was a Hoover. I called it Mrs. Hoover. There was a learning curve. And back then, let me tell you, not the hoses, but the solid part that's now plastic. It was metal back then. In the end, was crimped in, which made it made it so everything would work. Now I should have thought ahead, but I didn't. And so I did contemplate whether I should turn it on or not. By the way, a pet peeve I had, the term blowjob. That is not a good term. I thought for a moment, now remember I'm only 15, this is way back in the 50s, and the vacuum cleaner, it's got a blowing end, exhaust end, and it's got the sucking end. Now I did, to my credit, when I found out that that's metal and that kind of dangerous, and the blowing end, and I thought, blowjob, okay. So if I let it blow on my penis, and maybe stick it in, a 15-year-old boy will stick his dick in anything. And then I never stuck it in the dog. Okay. But I can tell you that, frankly, for me at least, blowing on my dick doesn't do a damn thing. Not at all. But anyway, so I stuck it in the sucking end. Now that made sense because, I was familiar with the term cocksucker. The 2, 3, 4, the 5th term of George Carlin's. Okay, I got them all memorized, but I'll use that another time. Anyway, so I stuck my member in, I turned it on, and that was very good. I really liked that. And because I really liked it, things kind of expanded. And finally the inevitable happened after a few seconds. And so it was time to take it out, which I couldn't do. It expanded, things crimped in. I panicked a little bit. I should have just relaxed, let things subside. But I didn't. I pulled harder. There was blood. But there's a nice thing about the design of our bodies, if there is any design. The glands, G-L-A-N-S, that's what it's called. By the way, did you know you girls have glands too? The actual name for the clitoris is the glans clitoris, or clitoris. I don't even know how to pronounce the damn thing. And anyway, where was I? It's hard for an 83-year-old to remember anything, and I'm in front of people and trying to remember these things. But anyway, back to the vacuum cleaner. There was blood, but it heals, the glands heals really quickly. I mean, it does. A couple days later, fine to go again. This time I used Vaseline. We didn't have fancy things back then, you know, like, God, you can get lubes that taste like, I don't know. I've never been into lubes since. But, you know, so forth. Now, I got so enamored with that vacuum cleaner. So when I went off to college, I succeeded in getting a job selling vacuum cleaners door to door. Because I could name more parts. But I never really was a success. See, the problem was, you know, and it was Hoover vacuum cleaners that I was selling. Okay, so I get in, you know, and I demonstrate and so forth, but they, you know, the tube and the hose and sound, it would arouse me. And I didn't want that to be seen, and so I have to excuse myself to go to the bathroom, but ask them first. They always thought it was a little strange that I took the vacuum cleaner with me. It really confused them when I would turn the vacuum cleaner on. And by that time they thought I was a little crazy, and so I didn't really sell any. So I think there's more of this, but I've forgotten it. But I will leave you with this advice, or not advice, but I want to encourage you to encourage masturbation. Now I have a program for this that I have thought up to make it acceptable every day to talk about it. Like, here's what we do. You know, when someone comes in, we meet them, we shake their hands, and we say, how are you today, or whatever. Instead, just say, wink well. And then on the other end, you know, when people leave, we now say, good day, and so forth. Just, you know, same words, but just change the inflection. Wink well. And then one final one for all of the Trekkies and the nerds and so forth. See if I can do this. This is hard for me. There, I did it. Now, if I didn't have to hold this microphone, I would hold up both hands, which is the way I think you should do it. And you know, if you're going to use this. Now, what do they say? They say, Spock said, live long and prosper. Wink well and often.
I'm not going to shake your hand, but anyway, thank you so much. Terry Litzwater, ladies and gentlemen. Terry, keep it going. And Jean, his wife Jean, in her mid-90s, came to every class with Terry. Give it up for Jean. Guest lecturer for you, I'm thinking.
Email me, nicole.ccsd@pdx.com.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, he could be.
comedyclub.com.
He could be an adjunct professor. Yeah. Okay, so you might have learned a few things tonight, did you?
Learn? Not necessarily, no.
Oh, so you cover the vacuum cleaner.
I do know what grunge music is. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, I feel like we should thank Nicole for being part of the show tonight. And how about a hand for everybody on the show? Moses Ross, who started us off. Ray Linnea, John Burton, Alex Purvey, John Stam, Perry and Mrs. Hoover. And to all my former students and future students, thank you all for coming tonight to support your fellow comedians. It's It's a great pleasure to watch everyone on this journey in the classes, and you too can sign up. Where, Patrick?
PortlandComedy.com.
PortlandComedy.com. You got a choice: stand-up comedy, sex therapy. Use your money wisely. Or both if you're rich. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Take care. Live long, prosper, life, do it all. Good night.